Hey, this is David Papadopoulos, and boy, do we have a fun bonus for you today. There's a new podcast in our Bloomberg family called Money Stuff, the Podcast, hosted by our friends Matt Levine and Katie Greifeld. Every week, they talk about Wall Street, finance, and all the other stuff that Matt covers in his wildly popular newsletter, Money Stuff. Maybe you've heard of it. Of course, you can't talk about money stuff without talking about a one Mr. Elon Musk. And in their most recent episode, Matt and Katie discussed Elon and the upcoming shareholder vote on his pay package. We thought you might get a kick out of their conversation, so we're sharing an excerpt with you here. If you want to listen to the whole episode, we'll leave a link in the show notes, or you can find it by searching Money Stuff, the Podcast, wherever you listen to your podcasts. The Elon Inc. crew will be back in your feed tomorrow with a brand new episode.
Hello, and welcome to the Money Stuff Podcast, your weekly podcast where we talk about stuff related to money. I'm Matt Levine. I write the Money Stuff column for Bloomberg Opinion.
And I'm Katie Greifeld. I'm a reporter for Bloomberg News and an anchor for Bloomberg Television.
It's the best day of our lives.
It is the best day of our lives, which happens every day on Fridays. We have a lot to talk about today. We have to talk about Elon Musk, of course.
We had a whole week without Elon Musk, I think.
I know, it was weird that we didn't get to it in the first week. So we'll talk about Elon Musk and that pay package, $56 billion, and of course his issues with Delaware. We're also going to talk about Jane Street versus Millennium. You just published on this.
By the time you hear this podcast, I will have published on it roughly 24 hours ago.
Okay.
We're recording it shortly after I published on it.
It's Thursday right now, and Matt published 20 minutes ago, so this is the one I'm least prepared for. And we're also going to talk about Hunterbrook, the hedge fund that's also a newspaper ?
Indeed.
Before we get into this week's topics, it's our second episode.
It's our second episode. We got a lot of feedback on the first episode.
We got a lot of feedback. A lot of it was about...
All of it, almost.
A comment that I made about the doped Olympics. Surprise, they already exist, and they're funded by Peter Thiel.
Well, they don't exist. They're like launching.
Yeah, the idea is out there. The enhanced games that would have no drug testing. So if you didn't want to do performance-enhancing drugs, you could still enter. You would just lose.
Yes, or you could do the regular Olympics, which will still have drug testing.
Yeah, and you'll probably still lose.
I wonder if, presumably day one, the best athletes will still do the regular Olympics.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it'll take for the enhanced Olympics to have faster times and higher jumps.
It's a great question.
Because if you're like the 10th best track athlete and you do a lot of drugs, are you better than the best?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's only one way to find out. So
Peter Thiel's going to do it.
These games need to happen. The event roster includes individual sports such as athletics, meaning track and field, aquatics, gymnastics, strength, and combat. I would watch these.
But what we don't have on that list, Katie,
is dressage.
Is dressage.
Yeah.
No doped dressage.
For the uninitiated, dressage is horse dancing, effectively. Just go on YouTube, look it up. It's a ridiculous sport that, for better or worse, I partake in. I'm not sure if when I enter the enhanced games, which I will, whether I take the drugs, the horse takes the drugs, do we both take the drugs?
You both take the drugs. Have you or your horse ever been offered drugs? Has there ever been a controversy at your dressage?
We're not that good. Maybe in higher levels of the sport, but what we're doing, it's very loosely dressage. Let's talk about the topic.
Right along.
Moving gracefully along.
Elon
Musk. The big news this week is that Tesla came out with their proxy statement. 2 items of interest. They're going to ask shareholders to vote again on that 2018 pay package of $56 billion that was voided by a Delaware judge. And related to that, they're going to vote on whether to move Tesla's state of incorporation from Delaware to Texas. What do you want to start with?
They're interrelated.
Yes.
Right? He got paid a giant stack of options in about 2018. Everyone says they're worth $56 billion. Whatever. They're worth like $40 billion. $56 billion is just like a conventional number that people attach to it because, it goes up and down with the stock. But right now it's worth $40 billion. And judge took him away in January, said that was too much to pay him and it wasn't properly approved by the shareholders. And so they're going back to the shareholders to, 1, get it properly approved, and 2, never have to deal with a Delaware judge again because they're going to move to Texas.
Like you said, these are 2 intimately related issues, but sticking with the pay package, which everyone is saying is $56 billion, maybe it's $40 billion, but the vote is in June.
Yeah.
Are they going to approve it again, these shareholders?
I think so. The proxy quotes a lot of letters from individual shareholders saying how much they love Elon Musk and how they're going to approve it. And also, by the way, letters from like T. Rowe Price,
Right.
like big shareholders too.
Right.
It's interesting. If you're a shareholder in like 2021 or even like December of last year, I think you would say this pay package was worth it. In 2018, they said, we're going to pay Elon Musk $56 billion if he takes the market cap of Tesla from like $60 billion to like $650 billion. And at the time, that seemed like a real stretch goal. And then he did it really quickly. And so all of the shareholders got rich. Like they made a lot of money on Tesla.
For sure.
I think they felt a real sense of gratitude. And so I think very few shareholders were complaining about his pay package, but one did and sued, right?
Yes.
I think the shareholders were happy with it. But now, if you go back to them and say, you want to approve it again, they can be like, we already got whatever he did. He did the stuff that made it a $650 billion company. So if we can get those past efforts for free, why shouldn't they get it for free? They feel grateful, but do they feel $56 billion grateful? But that said, if you're a Tesla shareholder at this point, you're playing a longer game. And rightly or wrongly, I think Tesla shareholders assume that Elon Musk and his continued affection are essential to the value of Tesla stock. And so if they vote down this pay package, like, will he quit in a huff? Maybe. He's got a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got a lot of distractions. So he could quit in a huff. And although his mercurial stewardship has not been great for the stock price in the last couple of years, he quits in a huff. That's going to tank the stock, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the stock's already down 40% year to date.
Yeah,
So it would
like it's been a rough ride, but still, I think they want him there. It's not like if they vote this down, he'll come back and be like, okay, fine, can you give me like $2 billion? Like I think like if they vote this down, he's going to be really mad, really mad.
I guess I have two kind of related points to that. To what you're saying, what is the key man risk to Tesla? Like how much does Tesla need Elon Musk at this point is something I think about all the time. This is an established company at this point.
No, I agree with that. It's an established company. It could probably operate on its own. It's not like the stock has been continuing to go up from strength to strength. It's been a rough time. I do think that there's probably still a valuation premium for Elon Musk. And I think like it's a somewhat retail heavy stock. There are a lot of people who like Elon Musk in this stock. And I think if he were to leave, that would be bad. But I'm not sure of that in the way that I might have been in like 2021.
Yeah.
I also think, by the way, whatever your sort of economic calculation, I do think that some of the shareholders at least are like, we agreed to pay him these options. We voted on it. A court, in a weird technical opinion, struck that down. And we don't think that's fair. We think it's like bad for corporate democracy and also bad for like fairness to Elon Musk. And so we're going to give him that $56 billion back anyway. I think there's probably some of that going on among some of the shareholders, including some of the institutional shareholders.
Even if this is approved, will it just get voided again? Like, how does this work if they approve it again?
It's a fascinating question. I think, and Tesla thinks, the answer is that if they approve it again, this time it'll stick, right? Because what happened last time is they approved it and the judge found that the shareholders were not fully informed of all the conflicts of interest involved in setting his pay package. Now they're fully informed, in part because like Tesla like went back and gave disclosures, but also they just attached the judge's opinion to the proxy statement to be like, anything that the judge found bad, here, you can read it, right? So I think they have to be fully informed. There's no problem with the vote, but the law on this is not super clear. And they say in the proxy statement, we're not totally sure what the effect of this will be. I think there's some argument that the disgruntled shareholder can sue again, and the judge again gets to decide if the pay package is fair. And we kind of know she thinks it isn't. So like it might get struck down again. By the way, the other thing I want to say is that I don't know what the disgruntled shareholder is. A guy named Richard Tornetta. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know if he wants to do this again. But you know who cares? His lawyers, who, when they won in the Delaware court and they struck down this $56 billion pay package, they went to the court and they said, we want $5.6 billion worth of Tesla stock as a fee for this win, right? And their theory is we saved shareholders all this money by clawing back this $56 billion from Elon Musk. If the shareholders give Elon Musk the $56 billion back, they haven't gotten the fee yet, right? It's still in court.
Yeah.
If they give the money back, what is their argument that they saved the shareholders any money? Like they've got a lot of money riding on the argument that Musk's compensation actually got clawed back, so they care.
Yeah. Let's talk about the second part of what happened, Texas. Are they going to run into this problem again in Texas? Moving to Texas, what does that do for Tesla?
They say that moving to Texas makes sense because there are big factories in Texas, their headquarters in Texas, Elon lives in Texas, and so they have to move their incorporation to Texas because that just makes sense. No other company thinks that, right? Like that's not really a thing. Like every company is incorporated in Delaware and very few are located in Delaware, but it's what they say. The answer is nobody knows. There's a lot of Delaware corporate law, and there's not a lot of corporate law anywhere else because most big companies that have big lawsuits are incorporated in Delaware, and so that's where all the cases are. Tesla says in its proxy that they think the law in Texas is mostly the same as the law in Delaware. Okay. I think it's probably true. But everyone kind of assumes that if this had all happened in Texas, and if a shareholder had sued Elon Musk in Texas to get back the $56 billion, a Texas judge would have been like, nah, Elon Musk can keep that money. There's no basis for assuming that. Like, nobody knows. It just seems that way. And clearly Elon Musk assumes it because as soon as the Delaware opinion came out, he's like, we're moving to Texas. By the way, that happened. The opinion came out and he was like, we're moving to Texas right away. He was saying it on Twitter. But Tesla now in its proxy statement has to explain why it's moving to Texas. And it describes this very thorough process that it did to evaluate moving to Texas. So it formed a special committee of independent directors. There's one person on the committee.
Was his name Elon Musk?
No. It's a truly independent director. Her name is Kathleen Wilson Thompson. The special committee met 16 times for more than 26 hours, says the proxy, which is like a fun thing to imagine. Like I first imagined it as like I met 4 hours today with the money stuff committee. Like I was like typing on my computer and I was like, oh, there's a meeting. But in fact, she met with like her lawyers.
Oh, for
so
sure.
She did. There were real meetings, but just she was the only director at the meetings. But the committee evaluated all 50 states to decide. It was like throwing darts, being like, which state should we move to? And like it just so happens that the best state turned out to be Texas. Coincidentally, the same thing that Elon Musk was tweeting about like 2 months ago.
It's beautiful.
So it worked out nicely for him.
It's good that it turned out that way.
By the way, you asked if the laws move with them. I wrote this before. There's some small chance of a Delaware judge saying, no, you're not allowed to move to Texas because you're only moving to Texas to pay Elon Musk more. And
which seems reasonable.
That is like a violation of your fiduciary duties to your Delaware shareholders, so we're going to stop you. I wrote that in like January. I thought that was like some extremely funny theoretical chance of that happening. Since then, there's been like a Delaware court decision that makes it less likely. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be really funny.
So I have one point, and I also have a question. I guess I'll start with the point, and that is that there is like a human psychology component to this, because I remember when this happened in January that it was voided, this pay package. My suggestion to Elon Musk would be, why don't you just have Tesla do a dividend? Mark Zuckerberg did that with Meta. Now he's going to make like $700 million a year. Mark Zuckerberg obviously owns a lot more Meta shares, so it makes more sense there. But you made the point to me that Elon Musk isn't trying to make normal, extremely wealthy man money. He has like insane aspirations that he needs all this money for.
He owns a minority of Tesla. He's a controlling shareholder, but he owns like 20% of the stock. So a dividend would go mostly to other people. And like they're not so rolling in cash, they could pay out like tens of billions of dollars of dividends. Mark Zuckerberg gets a dividend because he likes to go water skiing or whatever it is that he does, right? Hoverboarding.
He has cows, right?
Cows, archery, I don't know, all sorts of
normal things.
Hobbies.
Yeah.
Like moderately expensive hobbies, some of them. But Elon Musk's hobbies are like brain implants, going to Mars, buying Twitter. I'm forgetting a few, but like he's not like looking to spend money on a nice vacation. He's looking to have tens of billions of dollars to fund going to Mars. And so he needs these giant pay packages every now and then to pursue his next ambition.
You're not going to get that from your dividend checks. And then my question for you is, what do you think is the most interesting way that this proxy vote could turn out? What would be the most interesting chain of events for you?
Look, I love the idea of a Delaware court preventing Musk from leaving for Texas. I think that would be extremely funny. But I actually think the simpler answer is funnier, which is if the shareholders vote this down, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like he'll quit in a huff on Twitter like that day.
Yeah.
Like it'll be an amazing thread of tweets and it will be an amazing corporate debacle. Whatever time he's devoting to Tesla, he'll go and devote to some other wild thing and that'll be wild. And Tesla will like find its way as a, it'll get back that $50 billion and find its way as a company not controlled by, it would be a wild sequence of events.
That, in my mind, would be the most interesting scenario as well. And then we could truly find out what the Elon Musk premium is.
The thing about Elon Musk companies is that if you're an investor in Elon Musk companies, like you like Elon Musk. Like that's just how it goes, right? Like you're not there because you like the assets but think they're mismanaged. Like you're there because you like Elon Musk. It would be really shocking for the investors in an Elon Musk company to vote against them in such a striking way.
Do you want to talk about Elon Musk for like 25 more minutes, or do you think we should move on?
I saw your look of like, I have wrapped this up so nicely. And then Matt comes in with more stuff. I have some more stuff, but I'm going to wrap it up. Never mind.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. There's always more Elon.
If you want to listen to the whole episode, we'll leave a link in the show notes, or you can find it by searching Money Stuff, the podcast, wherever you listen to your podcasts. The Elon Inc. crew will be back in your feed tomorrow with a brand new episode.